Thursday, day 4, Science. Eratosthenes. Many scientists in ancient Greece believed the world was round, but none of them knew how big it was until the 3rd century BC, when Eratosthenes, 276-194 BC, chief librarian of Alexandria, devised an ingenious way to measure the Earth size. Eratosthenes knew of a special well near Syene, probably he's doing as we speak, Egypt. At noon on June 21, the longest day of the year, the sun's rays penetrated all the way to the bottom of the well. I wonder why I never watched it. This meant that the sun was directly overheat. It goes like this. Eratosthenes realized that if the sun was directly overheated in Syene, then its rays must be heading at an angle in Alexandria, which was due north. If he could measure the angle by which the sun was off center. Excuse me, I'm gonna stop paying attention on the stalkers in the street and I'm just gonna do my thing. They're just like overwhelming. Eratosthenes realized that if the sun was directly overheated, it's written overheated, but I think it's overheated, in Syene, then its rays must be heading at an angle in Alexandria, which was due north. If he could measure the angle by which the sun was off center, then he would have the clue he needed to extrapolate the size of the Earth. So at noon on June 21st in Alexandria, he took a measuring stick and captured the angle cast by its shadow. Eratosthenes knew that the angle of the shadow was equivalent to the angle formed by the two cities and the center of the Earth. So he divided the size of the angle by 360, the number of degrees in a circle, to determine the fraction of the Earth that separated the two cities. The answer was 150, 150th. In other words, if you walked back and forth between Syene and Alexandria 50 times, then you would have walked the equivalent of the Earth's circumference. All that remained was to measure the precise distance between the two cities. Eratosthenes hired a pacer, a professional walker, trained in taking perfectly equal steps. From the measurements of the pacer, Eratosthenes estimated the circumference of Earth to be 24,700 miles. Today, using the exact same principles developed by Eratosthenes 2,000 years ago, modern instruments estimate the distance around the equator to be 24,902 miles. In Eratosthenes' time, the known world extended from Spain to India. He believed that a vast ocean covered the rest of the world. If it weren't for the enormity of the ocean, Eratosthenes thought it would be possible to sail from Spain to India by heading west. It was this idea that inspired Christopher Columbus to undertake his famous voyage in 1492. Additional facts: Eratosthenes was the first historian to seriously attempt to put historical events in chronological order. We use his dates for most of ancient history. We also owe to Eratosthenes many modern concepts like latitude, longitude, or vice versa, music scales, and prime numbers. Other scientists in Eratosthenes' time nicknamed him Beta, and it was because he was the coolest boy in his fraternity. Eratosthenes had many interests in that his contemporaries considered him a dabbler. To them, he was second class, a beta.